Right, I didn't half knacker my shoulder with all that engraving the other night. 2 days ago I could barely move my arm. Yesterday it was 2 years since I've engraved, so I was in absolute agony. Pulled the muscle right up in my shoulder because you're hunched up like that. I've been tattooing today, feeling a bit looser. So it's quite late on, it's 7 o'clock at night. But I've been thinking about this, and for a long time I've been thinking about it, so I thought, sod it, I need to have a bit of an experiment to see what the crack is. Now, all these comments about the wheel arches being too big, not so much on YouTube but on social media. I agree. The gap is big, and want to try and rectify that problem. I need to visualize it. I've drawn it, but I need to visualize it. And I've tried these arches on. These are just like universal plastic arches. But we've got a curve coming out that way, and then we've got a curve that way, so you would have like a curve and to a peak, and then down to another peak. That's going to look stupid. It needs to come out and down like that, but I need to remove some of this. And then what we'll do is we'll sit these on underneath where I want them to be, and then I can build up around it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a mould of them, make some fiberglass versions of those, but just for now I'm just having a bit try on. This was to help visualize what it might look like if it didn't have the roof pod and it didn't have the same back window, and we actually like done a convertible version of it, so I was just playing with that. That's not what we're dealing with here. I just wanna see what this might look like, so I'm gonna cut that off, because this rear clam is scrap anyway. Those side skirts are scrap anyway. That bumper is scrap. Sorry, the bonnet is scrap. The bumper is not scrap. That's actually Simon's, so I can't cut into the bumper or anything. But I just wanted to sit it on just so I could get a visual of how this is gonna work. So I'm gonna cut these off here just to there and see where that gets us to and go from there. And I've got a line, I don't know whether you can see it from there, but this is even worse because it comes out like almost horizontal. It's only just going in a little bit, so I'm going to have to cut that back quite a bit, I think. But that's just an initial trim for now, just so I can get a better idea. And then, like I say, I'll have to make some of these out of fiberglass, because this is a good radius for the size of the wheel. It fits the wheel well. That wasn't a pun, but it's the wrong concave on it. So by using that and putting that in place, then I could, if I make a fiberglass one, then I can attach it properly into the back of that, fiberglass it in, and then a fresh shape on the outside, keeping that radius, which gives us a nice perfect radius and a nice lip to go off, so we keep a lip around it. So they'll work as a really good guide, but not as plastic. For now I'll use them as plastic, but eventually, well, not long from now, I'll make some fiberglass ones so that I can experiment with that. So bar messing on with the bumper, that's a pretty damn good start. Like I say, it gives us the radius of where the arch needs to be, and gives us plenty of points where I can connect and then trim this back to the point that I can bring it down like that without it having too much of a crest. So I think the next thing to do is take a mould of those, so I've got fiberglass pieces that I can work with and cut at, because mating fiberglass and plastic together is doable, but it's better if it's fiberglass to fiberglass. So I'm gonna make a mould. So I'm gonna use this as the mould, like a backing for the mould. Some silver tape around it so fiberglass releases off the it'd be better if I drilled some holes, really. So I'm fixing it down to this to stop it moving. Yeah, so we do those two instead of that one. Put a bit more tape around the outside. Then I'll have to create a fence on this side as well. Glue that into place. Might have to take it off to do that, actually. That just gives us something stable to work on to take a mould of that. So then, instead of having to make a full, like, it would mean a new bonnet mould, it would mean a new rear clam mould. If I was to make the changes to the main moulds. But what I can do is an easier way around it, because everybody might not want that, you know what I mean? They might not want tighter arches, they might want the bigger arches, they might want it to still look like more like the original car. So what I can do is just make an arch kit for it that you would add to the car afterwards if you wanted that. Right, I've not been recording much, so I'll show you what I've been up to. I made a big boo-boo, I'll show you. So, remember I was fitting the doors? Well, everything was going grand until I put them on after they'd been bonded on, and I realised that this edge was sitting in far too far. What I'd done was forgot to put the packers in this bit here. Like, you need that bit there. What am I doing? That bit there doesn't touch the door. It sits up about 25 mil. 20 mil further down, 10 mil further down, and it needs packers in behind it so that it holds it out, especially there, because it needs to be level with the side skirt. I was busy checking the top and the bottom and the edges, but I never checked the level. So when I bonded it on, I actually sat tins of resin on it as well, which made it sit even flatter. So I had to cut off both door skins, which was an absolute mission, and redo the whole thing. So I had to remake new panels, so those black sections there are new bits, because I smashed those getting them off. What a flipping job it was getting them off. And when I did that, on the door video a couple of videos ago, I had to cut these to get them to fit. This time they fit perfectly. Still a little bit of trimming, but I didn't have to totally butcher them. So anyway, they're been kind of kicking myself, but hey, it's definitely a mistake on my part. I've been getting little bits of filler in the doors and that, just sorting out a few marks and where the clecos go. I've also been making this, which is obviously we've got this debate about the wheel arches. So I've got these wheel arches which curve like that, they curve out the way, you know, from the top to the bottom, and I want them to curve that way. So what I did was I got one of these plastic arches, and at first I took a mould of it to then make a fiberglass one, and then just because I figured it'd be easier to work with, I didn't really want to work with the flexi plastic one. And then I've screwed it down to this bit of wood, and I've got some of this foam, triangular shaped stuff, long stuff, just like packaging. And I hot glued that. I drew a line round the middle, right round the arch, and hot glued that to the arch, and then I taped over that, which created like that and like that sort of effect. And then I've went in and I've then filled fiberglass over the top of it, and then I've been filling and shaping that. We've now got a nice arch. There's a full of little dipples in it still. It's not quite perfect. There's something going on there, but it's really damn close now. So I've no idea what that's going to sit on like. Well, I've got a rough idea, but those were sort of working, but not how I want them to work and not how I want them to look. If I'm going to arch this, I'd rather add like a little bubble arch on it rather than the outward flick that they've both got on at the minute, that all the arches have got on. So if I'm going to change it, I want to change it, you know what I mean? I don't want to do it like so it looks like original but lower. I want to make it look like it's been changed. So I've been on with that, half a ton of sanding, there's a load of dust on the floor. Just been fitting these door handles, so a little bit more to do on them yet. I'll put you on a tripod and show you what I'm up to with that. Right, so these are really fiddly, you got to be very careful. So what I'm doing, you don't want to take away too much fiberglass because it will cause you all sorts of problems. So what I'm doing here, I'm just using, got a little battery Dremel here, and I'm using the Dremel to shape these holes. What I'm doing there is drill holes in, but as you can see, right, so this is the bit that I cut off obviously. Now I'll cut this out roughly out of the door, but you can see the bits that still need to go, and they do need to go. Like there's no room for any extra in here. So what I'm doing is I'm using this as a template and grinding up to the edge of it. Get that a little bit better yet. The other one I might have a little bit too much off it. I don't know. I need to. I think something was stopping it coming up that way, so it was not getting the clearance it needed, and I think I've took too much off the other one. Might have to build that edge up a little bit. What a pain in the arse. Hopefully not. But those are close enough for now anyway, because the next thing is I want to get some primer on them. I made that wheel arch over there. I think it's in shot. Yeah, you can see it. Based off one of these plastic ones, but these go in like that, they're concaved. I wanted it to have a bubble shape, so I built that up, I built that edge up, and then I screwed it to there, built that edge up with foam, tape, then fiberglass over that, then filler, till I got to that shape there. Just gave us a nice round with a, you know, a lip and edges to work to. And then I made a mould of that, and now I'm on my fourth part out of the mould. I started off with white, and then I realised I was running out of white, so I've got loads of black, so I put some black in it, made a grey, and then I thought, I've got loads of red, so because the mould's black, you see, so you know, just a contrasting colour to the mould sort of thing. Where's my gloves? Yeah, so it doesn't matter what colour I do them at the minute, because it's just it's experimental, and the reason I'm doing it is the arch issue, which is basically that there's a lot of clearance on the arch, and just want to see if we can reduce it down a bit. You know, the gap between the wheel and the tyre and the arch. But because the way the arches on the car are shaped, it's not easy to transition from, well it is, but it had to be this shape. They're coming out like that, same shape as that arch. So you'd think that black plastic one would fit nice, but it doesn't, because it's got a different concave and at a different height, because I need to move this down, so I'd have ended up with a double concave, you know. So it needed to come out and then around and down. So, and that's not what it was doing. Yeah, let's see what you think about this. I've got a lot to explain here, so I'll put the coloured ones on this side. I'd cut the arches of the kit on this side, I cut them back. I cut the lip off the front and I cut the lip off the back. Is cut a bit much, I think, but there's a lot to sort out. They don't fit as such. There's going to be some cutting, mainly of the arch to bring it closer in. Let me just sit on a bit better. Obviously, height-wise, I want to piss about with them a little bit, and on bits like this I need to work out a section where it comes into the bumper. Obviously it's going to come down there, which flows quite well with that line. It's all fitting like really nicely. Obviously I'd put a cut through there, that blends into there that way, that's blending in that way and then coming down. That's coming almost straight across and then down. Like I said, these need to go in further. I've got to cut all this back so that I don't want it this wide, which I'll explain. Although I love it this wide, I can't have it this wide. Same again, it's fitting nice there, and I need to work out possibly like a whole trim across the bottom of the side skirt and into the back. The blend there is going to go like that, cut line through there again, and when you get to here, this shape here, there's a little bulge there, in, out, and then it went back down slightly, but this is going to fill that, so you won't have a high there. It's just going to go from there round and up into there, and then you see there it's all sitting quite nice. In chopping stuff now, you'll also notice this has got no top on it. This is the part that I made the mould of, that you know, the plug that the original piece that I made the mould from, and I just chucked it out the back after that because it was all, you know, there was damage, mold damage there, paint ripped off. It was a mess. But I ended up cutting it up to try it on the back of Chucky's pickup truck, and essentially, if we cut the back of Chucky's pickup truck off up to the wheels, this will go on and sit quite well on it, amazingly. So yeah, but I cut the top off anyway, just to, for ease of fitting. And also, Paul was wondering what one would look like as a convertible, you know, without the lifting clam and that. So that was the other reason I've done that and cut the whole top off. I think I'd already had it off for Chucky's, but anyway, sat it on to have a look, because that roof is essentially the same shape as the convertible roof bar. The little buttresses here and slightly bigger, but so it gives you an idea what it would look like as a convertible, which when you get a stand back shot of it looks quite weird. But I love these arches. So I can't go so wide because the car park at my shop, you've got to go through an archway. It's like I don't know, I think the building's like 300-year-old or something. So the archway was designed for horses and carts, and there's like a car park around the back, which I think was like the horse watering yard sort of place. And it's 189 centimetres wide to get through. There's like a metal bollard there and either side, and it's 100 and it's slightly angled. And then there's more room for your mirrors and stuff, but there's a metal bollard there. I guess it's to stop you, you know, getting too close. It works, but that gives us 189 centimetres. This car is 182 centimetres, and I measured it when I was doing it just to make sure that it would be going through. My Jaguar's 186 centimetres on my car that previously identified as a Jaguar but doesn't anymore. 186, so I've not got a lot of space getting in and out this archway. Now I would love to put these on as wide as possible, but I don't want too much, you know, hanging out, and I can't really go much wider, although I could go, well, I suppose I could go another 4 centimetres really, couldn't I, and just make it as wide as the Jag. I'm used to driving that in, so I can go a bit wider actually, but not too much more, so we'll have to work that one out. Anyway, other stuff, this. Now, when I first did it, although I was messing with it, I was trying to keep the close DNA of the RS200. And now that, like, you know, now that I'm messing with it, which it's just stage 2, innit? These were things that I've played with, I've drawn, I've messed about with on the iPad and thought about loads, but didn't really have time to do any of it at Jonathan's because I was proper getting in his way, you know, so I needed to get out there as soon as possible. I did say about like doing the arches and stuff, and Jonathan says that if you keep on changing stuff, you're never going to get out of here. So yeah, so this is stuff that I'd drawn a long time ago, making a gap there for a big diffuser. And although the Active Aero thing was a good compromise and similar in shape to the RS200, I did consider doing this, which didn't work well for the Active Aero because of the angle of it. Yeah, I really like this because it gives you, imagine when that's all white and they're black, it gives you this X shape. Big diffuser coming out the bottom that'll be able to tunnel it through the subframe. So yeah, it looked cool. So another thing with these arches, I'm going to put them on as low as possible so that obviously this is on coilovers and it's lowered to the point that it's definitely going to suffer from a bit of bump steer. The suspension geometry is all messed up because you can see the lower control arms there are actually going up the way. They should be sitting level. So the car needs lifted up a little bit or a different subframe, but I'm looking to see if we can come up with another solution. If I put the arches on lower, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift the car up to essentially what would be about a 40mm drop, because you can get 40mm lower in springs, you know, for the standard suspension. So set it up so it's would be around a 40mm drop, and then put the arches on to fit the wheels at that height, because that means that you don't have to put coilovers on them if you don't want to. And you know, that's a big saving when you're messing on. It's also a better option for ride quality, because getting comfy coilovers do not have a comfort setting. So a 40mm drop is not offensive. It's not like too harsh on the car. So if we can have the kit as low as we can and still fill the arches at a 40mm drop, that'd be ideal. Saves people money, gives it a better ride quality. You can still put coilovers on if you want. So looking at this V cutout, it's kind of, I've been trying to add in this shape into the car. I've got like a drawing where I've done like a sunscreen that comes along like that. So just essentially just a white bit in the middle, so it like continues the roof down and again mimics that shape. I did it with the clam at the vent at the top. I created that shape in the back of the top vent as well. So this is sort of mimicking that. I'm trying to pull that shape, and again at the bottom as well. That's not how I'm going to do it. I'm going to widen that out a little bit. It needs to come out to that bit there. But this is just to visualize it, you know what I mean? What do you think? Them back arches, look at that. Yes, if I can go to 186 and this is 180, I can put 2 centimeters on either side, 20mm, which like 20mm, it's already on 30mm spacers. I think I'm going to change the wheels, but 20mm would bring that out to about there. But anyway, that's what that looks like, and I really, really, really like it. Still a load of stuff to do. Now, plan is, I'm going to, choking, I'm going to get it onto my car, well, onto this. I'm just going to use this as a mule, because that's a scrap bonnet. That's actually Simon's front bumper that I borrowed to. That's all ready to go apart from his clam. I'll have his clam just about finished today, I think. Yeah, I'll get it onto this because I want to obviously blend it all in, work out my transitions into the bumper, which is definitely going to be like, you know, the bumper's going to get wider as well, and the side skirts. So that's all to work out before I can then take a mould of that on the car once it's all blended in and everything. And they'll take a mould of it while it's on the car, and then those parts, those moulds, will produce an additional kit. If you want to do the arches and the arch gap does your head in, it'll be an option. But you know, as well, what's to say people aren't going to just stick a set of, like, you know, fat wall rally tyres on it and actually having it looking like a rally car? There's no reason why not. Probably make a good little rally car. Jack up the suspension, put flipping. Well, you don't even need to jack up the suspension, do you? Just leave it with standard suspension and rally tyres and wheels. It'd look wicked. Anyway, shame that one's not white as well. I suppose I could swap the white one just to get a... I mean, the back ones are the boys, like. These are still a little bit... it's going to work, you know. It flows in nice. It's relatively straightforward, although a lot of work. But, look at it, man. I do want to do them as wide as possible, like. Yeah, anyway, I'll stop waffling on, and I wanted to get that done to sort of spur us on for the rest of the day, because I'm, where's the camera gone? Just on with doing the clam. So I did the first layer, done the gel coat, and then the first layer of fiberglass yesterday. That's ready for the next layer up, and then the strengthening stuff to go into it. Probably won't record much of that because it's sticky and messy and boring, maybe. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. I'll show you Simon's bits. Not to see really. Bonnet ready. These doors, I've just been filling a few little bits of pinholes, because these are all primed. So obviously when you prime it, it shows up all your pinholes. So just getting the doors like that, because I still need to work out this fitting, like I was saying, I messed them up. But I know now, can't Google experience. Sometimes you've got to learn the hard way. Right, gonna go on fiberglass this clam. Hi guys. Right. So, you know, I was banging on about a year ago about vape batteries, and I got a bunch of batteries from my mate's shop, and I asked him to start collecting them. I tattoo him and that, and I've seen him loads, but he said, you know, the batteries were sort of building up, because basically, you know, he started collecting the vapes, the disused ones, you know, because people were asking him, and I says, well, what do you do? And he says, I just tell them to chuck them in the bin. Obviously they're not even supposed to go in the bin. I says, well, collect them and I'll tack them off you. So he's been collecting them, but it's been about a year, yeah, so like, look. So there's a lot, like, that was a heavy load putting in there. So Jonathan, obviously, I was like, right, wait, what can you do with all these batteries? And I don't know, you know, we're on about like making battery packs, and there's all sorts that you can do with all these batteries. The rechargeable batteries that have only had one cycle. I'm just getting to the garage now. I thought I'd film Jonathan's reaction, because he's gonna have to take these batteries, these vapes, and either just store them until he wants to use them, or strip them down and get the batteries out. I don't know what he's gonna do. There's a lot of vapes. Got something for you. Come and have a look. I know, but like you need to deal with this now, because I don't want to have to deal with it. Go around the back.
Oh, is it batteries? Oh, oh well.
That is a lot of, I mean, you want to feel the weight of that sack.
I can imagine.
My sack is very heavy. Uncle John, this could be a job for you.
Unload them somewhere and we'll... Fucking hell! We'll have to sort them out. Some of them are chargeable anyway, so...
But they're all rechargeable. It's all, all of these are rechargeable batteries.
It's just some of them are handy because they've got the
charging port on them, yeah. Yeah.
So you can repurpose them easier.
Do you think that'll be enough? What are you going to make with them? You got to do something with them. You got to do something cool with them now. Like, I've got you them. You said you wanted them.
My 8 HP hasn't got the electric motor in the front.
Yeah. We could run a car on them.
Yeah.
There's enough there to make a battery cell for a car.
Make a good jump start.
Yeah.
When do you have dinner on? Dinner of the cheese and ham slices?
Well, we're going to put them anywhere. Container. Yeah. I would put them in the container. Aye, that's what I mean, that one. Oh, thermal runaway. There must be a couple of thousand there. There's a lot, like. Right, let's get them out the car.